in this question, we want to use law of cosine and the law of sine to solve the question, to find the answer. Find the missing parts of the triangle, round to the nearest tenth when necessary, or to the nearest minute as appropriate. Here we have three sides. A is 7.2 inches, B is 13.7 inches, and C is 15.6 inches. If we start with the law of sine, then you can see you will have A, B, C separately. They are on three different places. So we are not to start with the law of sine. You see, if we start with this equation, we only know these two elements, and those two are not known. Not known, you cannot then find out either A or B, because again, we know only three sides. Then we got to consider the law of cosine, because law of cosine says that a squared equals b squared plus c squared. Subtract 2bc cosine a. If it were a right triangle with a 90 degrees, then we would not have a minus 2bc cosine a. That would be what? Directly a squared equals b squared plus c squared. But here, we do not know this is a right triangle. So we have to do the law of cosine minus, here is law of cosine, and here we should have a minus 2bc cosine a. This angle A, capital letter, is opposite to the little case a. Now, we need to find out angle A because, again, A, B, C, those three sides we know. Now, solve for cosine A first. We do is both sides add 2bc cosine A because here is negative. Here we add the same quantity, and these two will be cancelled. And then we subtract a squared, so left-hand side a squared will be cancelled, and the right-hand side is subtract a squared. Okay, so then we shall get left-hand side is 2bc cosine a plus b squared plus c squared minus a squared. And then divided by 2bc on both sides, cosine a comes out. The right-hand side, we have a b squared plus c squared minus a squared divided by 2bc. And here then we plug in the numbers. B is 13.7, that's B. C is 15.6, that's C, and then minus A squared. A is 7.2, so we have that. Then divided by 2bc, so 2 times 13.7 times 15.6, that's C. Okay. Now, plug in this quantity into our calculator. Let's see if we can have our calculator or not. I have a good one here. This is our calculator here. So let me get out the question, put back the calculator here. Okay, we do clean the screen, and then we work on those numbers. Now, here 13.7, so we do 13.7 squared plus 15.6 and then squared minus 7.2 squared divided, do not forget the parenthesis, 2 times 13.7 times 15.6, close bracket, and then we hit the enter. We got 0.8871, 0.8871. This is what we get. Then we do cosine inverse, so we should get a. So let me put a right here. That's a. Okay. So how do you do the cosine inverse? Again, you want to store this number into a memory. So you do will be store, put in memory A, then you can recall it. So you do second cosine inverse, and then you want to recall this memory A, you do A, hit the enter, hit the enter here, close bracket, and then you do hit the enter, you have the degree is 27.48 something. Rounded up, it is 27.5. So 27 looks like this one is right. But you want to find out BC. Now, how to find out BC? We have A here, 27.5 already. And then we will no longer need law of cosine. Of course, you may need the law of cosine to find out what? To find out B as well by the same law of cosine. You know the three sides. But here we can apply the law of sine. Well, those two quantities we know, we do cross multiplication divided by 7.2, we get sine B. Okay, so that would be what? That would be here, B times sine A divided by side A. So B times sine A divided by side A. B was what? 13.7. That's B. A again, 27.5. And A, 7.2. Right here. So we find it. Okay. You do will be what? 13.7 times sine. Where is the sine? So this is the sine. Okay, make sure here your calculator is in degree mode. So you want to check. You see the degree is highlighted. You can get out. Now you probably can do 27.5, or you may do 48080828. This would be better. If you do 27.5 divided by 7.2, you hit enter, you'll get 0.878 something. Okay, then you got sine B is this value, so you will do sine inverse. How to do the sine inverse? You shall have a, here will be, let me see if I can write it here. Sine inverse. So I will do this one is sine inverse 0.878. You input more, okay? You'll get this many degrees. Again, let me store this value in the memory B, into memory B. And then when I do sine inverse, I can recall the memory B, memory B, close bracket, hit enter. So I have a 61.4745 out. Okay. Again, you may do this, find out C either by law of cosine, as I did here, or you may do by law of sine. You do like this. But it's not necessary now, since we have what? Since we have two angles. One is 61.47 something. Here is in degrees. Another is 27.5. So 180 minus that, we shall have a 91.025 something. So then here will be like 91.1. Here, because I did 27.5, if I did 27.4808 something, I might get here is 61.4 without 7 round up. Now it looks like here is not exactly the same with the one right here, because you have to round it up, and then the difference between this one and this one is caused by what? It is caused by the here we did 27.5. If we did 27.48 something, we may get this 7, this digit less, so we shall get 61.4 something. So that's because of the rounding error. Okay, so roughly here we have A is 27.5. It fits this one. B is 61.4, and then C is 91.1 roughly. Okay, again here This error is because of this value is rough, and that's because we rounded earlier. 27.5 probably should be replaced by 0.48080828. Then you should have the similar angle. So that's probably the reason. But you can always do here is law of cosine. You did for cosine A, you can do cosine B and find out cosine inverse. You should find out angle B. Okay? There are a few different approaches to do this one. Okay, I'll see you next time.